When Seattle high school football players hit the field each weekend at Memorial Stadium, they probably have no idea of the sense of history in this place. Of course, when you're 16, names from half a century ago mean little. But there's one name that maybe they should know. There, up on the scoreboard. The man who made young people and their games his life, Leon H. Brigham. This week, the official dedication of the new computerized scoreboard at Memorial Stadium took place. And to top that scoreboard, recognition of the man who helped build Seattle's prep sports, as well as stadiums and gyms for them to play those sports in. Leon Brigham was to Seattle sports what Knute Rockne was to college football. Just as George Halas helped build the old NFL, Leon Brigham was the driving force behind high school sports here. Brigham coached Garfield's football and track teams to numerous championships in the 1920s and 30s. Near the end of World War II, he began a 17-year tenure as the city's first athletic director. He brought in night football, began the annual jamborees, and pushed the construction of new gyms and even Memorial Stadium.
Well, he'd be proud. Yeah.
Those who knew him, like longtime Seattle writer Emmett Watson, called Brigham the Sly Fox.
The thing about Brig, well, the teams he put on the field, they would just dazzle you. You know, he looked like an accountant. He really did, just a conservative accountant. But he had the heart of a riverboat gambler. He was always innovating. And you always went out to watch Garfield's teams play because you never knew what they were going to do.
Those who followed Brigham on the Seattle sports scene, like former coach John Boitano, remember the man as an innovator, one whose legacy of winning continued long after his coaching days.
I'll say he set up kind of a tradition in high school, like Owens did for the Pac-10. Brigham did it for high school. Because when I went over to Garfield, a coach, years later, we won games because of Garfield. You know, yeah, we weren't very good. Yeah, just the name, we just carried right on.
And of course, there were the family members who heard of Granddad's exploits when they were kids.
I think he'd be very proud. He'd be really touched. It would mean a lot to him.
The Sly Fox died back in 1987, and 5 years later, his contributions to Seattle have been honored with the dedication of the Memorial Stadium field. As Emmett Watson wrote at the time of Brigham's death, quote, "It seems a shame now that generations have grown up raising new families without ever really knowing who Leon Brigham was, without ever really knowing what he brought to us: excellence, tolerance, discipline, brotherhood, a devotion to values above self. By any standard, a glorious, triumphant life." Steve Rabel, Cairo Sports.